Hello everyone, this is Rose from Untwist Your Stitches. Today I'm going to do a quick video about how I kit up a new project. This is something that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I thought I've got this new flower pattern that I need to get kitted up, so I may as well give it a go. So the first thing you need is your pattern, and I'm showing it to you like this because this is a free pattern from Ellen Mayer Stowe, and I printed out a cover photo, and then the other thing that you'll need is this portion of the pattern, which gives you at the top, it tells you the fabric count that it was stitched on, the colors that it is charted in, and the stitch count. So on this particular one, let's see if we can get this to focus. Okay, so the stitch count for this is 63 by 63. And that will make it a 4.5 by 4.5 finish on, now this says 14 count at the top, but if you read a little, it says use 2 strands. Oh, that's just telling you how many strands to use for the different counts. So for a 14 count of this pattern, it will come out to 4.5 by 4.5. So the first thing you need to do is, well, the first thing I do is I decide on a project bag. And this here is the project bag that I have been using for all of my flower patterns that I've been doing this year. It has a tag here at the top. It says monthly flowers. And these are tags that I got off Amazon, and they're just basic luggage tags that you use when you're traveling. And they're really nice for my projects so that at a glance I can tell what is in the bag, and I don't have to open it up and try to figure it out from there. I can just look at it at a glance. So this bag is what I'll be using. The next thing I decide on is if I'm going to use a hoop, this is a nurge, or if I am going to use a Q-snap. Now, what I've been doing for all of these is I'm using my Q-snaps. So, but if this was a pattern that I was just starting, I would have to decide which one I felt was the better option. So for my Q-snaps, I do something that's a little different from what other people do. When I'm starting a new project, I will get my Q-snap and decide on whatever size it is that I'm going to use. This particular one is the 6-inch Q-snap. So then what I do is I get this tape. It's called paper tape. You can get it at any pharmacy or grocery store or whatever in the bandage section. And what I do with that is I wrap it around the edge that the fabric is going to set on, because that way it holds the fabric in place, because these are very smooth. And when you go to put your fabric on, sometimes it'll move on you and it won't hold it. And I like my hold to be quite tight. So what I do is I will take the tape and I will wrap it around the edges where the fabric is going to lay. So give me a minute and I'll finish wrapping this, and I'll come back and show you what I've done. Okay, so this is what whoops, excuse me. Sorry about that. This is what it looks like once I have put the fabric tape onto the areas that I need it to be on so that my fabric will fit on my Q-snap. Now the other thing I do is I also put a piece of tape inside each one of my clips. So what I'll do is I will decide how long I need it. And then, oops, here, let me see if I can get that centered, and here we go. It lays right in there. And this holds my fabric in place from both sides, the snap, and also on the frame. And that gives me a nice tight hold that I like when I'm stitching. So that's what I do with my Q-snap. And then it will go directly into here and be in my project bag. Each project has its own scissors with a scissor fob. It has its own needle minder. It has its own threader. It has this. These are kind of, they're by Dritz. I can't remember what they're called, if they're called a grabber or what they are, but when you need to pull your needle through on the back and it's giving you a hard time and you can't get hold of it real well, you wrap this around your needle and pull it through, and it's a good way to grip it. And also, sometimes my finger will get sore. So I have several of these that I put on the end of my finger, so that when the needle and thread are coming through, and it rubs against my finger, it's protected. So I've got that, and then each project also has its own set of needles. Now currently I've been using the Bowen needles. I've also used John James, and I've also used DMC. It's just that currently this is the needles that I am using, so that's what's in there. And pretty much everything that I stitch on, I use a 26 tapestry needle. So all of those go together, and then this box will also be used to hold my DMC thread when I show you how I put that together. So in the meantime, and I have several of these. Each project bag has its own little box. Oh, and the other thing I forgot to show you is inside each box, I have put a magnet so that my needles, the needle that I'm using and the threader are held in the box by the magnet. So that's in every project bag. Now sometimes there's more items, sometimes there's less. It just depends on what I need. Like if I need to use Krynic or other metallic thread, then there'll be some thread wax in here. What's the other thing I might need? I can't think of anything else I need regularly when I'm stitching, but this is the box that it'll go in. The next thing I need to decide on is what color fabric and what size. Now all of my flowers so far have been on 14 count Aida, except for one, and that'll be in my regular floss tube, and I'll explain to you why I had to do that to change the thread count or the fabric count. But for this one, I have decided that what I want to do is I want to use this yellow fabric, and I have cut it to the size it needs to be. Now for this particular one, I used a pinking shears on the edges. A lot of times I will use my sewing machine and do a zigzag around the edges, but this is so small and it's going to be such a quick project that I decided that the pinking shears option was my best option. So this will be the fabric for my violets. And I think the blues and the greens will go very nicely on this color. So that's what's going to go in here, ready for my flower. Now the next thing that we need to do is to get the thread together. And this is calling for DMC. And I've decided that yes, I will use all the DMC suggested colors on this particular project. So I'm going to take you to another area where I have my master set of DMC, and then I'll show you how I put the DMC colors in the box. So give me 1 minute and I'll be right back. So this is my master set of DMC. It's in this Hirschner's DMC box on bobbins. And I will be kitting up from this, and as I go, I'll explain what I'm doing along the way. The first thing I need to do is to get out a Post-it note and a pencil, just in case I need to, oh come on, where's my pencil here? All right, here we go. So the first number up is 156, and 156 would be right here in this, okay, and it will go in the box. And then what I do is from these paper bobbins, I will put the number and what pattern it's with. Because what I do when I'm using my master set, I will use the same bobbin in all the different patterns that I have kitted up. Now, I know you're going to say, well, what about different die lots? What I do is if it's going to be a project and I come across one of my threads, let me see if I can find one that doesn't have a whole lot on it. Ooh, not in this drawer. Most of these are pretty full. But say I come across a pattern that needs, oh, here we go. Here, we'll do this one. Say I come across a pattern that says it needs 158, and this is all I have. I will look at that pattern and I will decide, okay, do I think this will be enough? If not, I will go to my backup set of floss, and I'll get this number out. I'll put it on another bobbin, and when it comes time to use this, I will use one thread of this old color and one thread of the new color and tweed them together and use that on my pattern until the old thread is gone. If I think this is going to be enough for the project that I'm working on, then I won't tweed them. but it all depends on how much of that color is needed and if there is enough on the old bobbin to finish it off. So that's how I do that. And the next number I need, okay, is a 400 number. So we will put this back up here. I need 469, 470, 471, and 472. 69, 70, 71, and 72. And once again, I will put them in the box. I will go to my 469, 470, 71, and 72. Now, a lot of these colors are used in all of the flowers for the leaves. So it's already marked on here what it's going to be used for. I'll put it in there, and then I'll scoot these up, and I have these little blocks that I've made to put in the back here so that it'll hold my floss upright and it doesn't fall over and I lose one from it being on top of each other. So the next color is the 740. Okay, 740. All right, so this one was used for a different pattern, so I'm going to need to take that name off. And I'll write the number. Again, the number and the pattern. And it will go right here where 740 is supposed to be. All right, 743. Okay, good. This one is going to show you what I mean by using it for multiple patterns. So this one, 743, which is the next number that I need from my list, is already being used in my snowman pattern. So it's already kitted up. So what I'll do is on my Post-it note, I will write 743, and I'll write it like this so that I know that this color, when I come to need it, is in another pattern or in another project bag with the snowman, and I'll need to go get it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and pause now and finish kitting this up, and then I'll show you what I do at the end. Okay, so I've come to the end where I have all the colors that I need except for these three. I've determined where they are in other projects. I will attach this to the lid so that when I come across that number, I'll know where to look. Okay, so here we are back with my project bag, and these are all of the items that I put together and put into my project bags, and then the project bag is put into a basket with all my other projects in the order that I'm going to work on them. And each week I will take out the next project work on it for 7 days, take a progress picture at the end of that 7 days, or if I have finished that project, then I'll grab the next project up and work on it for a little while. But this is how I kit up my projects. And I've always been a bobbin girl. I prefer it that way. It it works for the way that my brain works. So that's why I use bobbins. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section and I will try to answer anything that has not been made clear in this video. So I hope this has given you some ideas as to how you might kit up your projects. I know that for those that use floss away bags or use floss tags, this isn't going to work for them, but it is the way that it works for me, and this is my process. So thank you for stopping in and seeing what I have to say. And I will see you in December with my next regular floss tube. Bye.